Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners. Goldylocks Productions presents Enlightening Conversations with Pam Silver Eagle.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Perch. Here we are on this amazing day, and I just I'm so filled with joy, as I had written for my pre-shows, that to have a very special guest on. All my guests are special, of course, and yet Spirit orchestrated this beautifully, and I want to give gratitude to Tiffany, our producer, for making this all happen on short notice. And so I am Pam Silver Eagle, for those of you who may not know me, and I stream here every Tuesday live at 1 p.m. Eastern. And as always, you can catch the replay if you're not with us live as often and whenever you wish. And so I would like to, we've got so much to share, and so I want to get right to welcoming Ethan Sisser. What an amazing soul. Hello, brother. Good morning, good afternoon, I guess. It depends on where we're all at.
Yeah. Hi.
How are you? So, Ethan, I know a lot of you I've been sharing some of his posts on my Facebook post, and so a lot of you have tuned in or following right along to his amazing journey of healing. I'm just a little background on Ethan. Ethan, most recently, about a year ago, was living in Hawaii, and as a yoga teacher, and co-facilitating retreats, sound healing, and beautiful artwork. And then his whole world shifted in the blink of an eye. And I found Ethan through a client, actually, who I had done a healing session on a couple months ago up in New York State. And she was on her healing journey from a brain tumor. And so she sent me the link for Ethan, and I've been following his journey and sharing. And I know his circle is growing and growing, because he has so much to share, so much to offer, so much wisdom. And I want to just say again, so we have Ethan here. And Ethan, so tell us, let's just lead in from here. So after you, I think I read or listened to you speak that you were there doing all this retreat work and in Hawaii and living your dreams, I'm feeling, and then you had intuitively a message came to you. Is that right?
Yeah, I was living with my shaman and the community in Hawaii. And yeah, basically I was living there, working on the farm. It was a beautiful farm, supporting the retreats. Sometimes they'd have people from all over the world come for healing retreats. And we'd all kind of, like, whatever our strengths were, we would offer those services in the retreat to support the shaman in his work, with the ceremonies and with the healing. But then one day, while working on the farm, my intuition told me that I need to go back to New York, where some family lives, and work in the city doing healing work and massage, and then go back to Hawaii with some money saved up, because it was a little bit hard to make money there in some ways, unless you have an established business.
Okay.
But besides just the money, something in my heart told me that I needed to, and I wanted to, like, understand myself more and have something more to offer the community when I came back. And then on the flight from Hawaii to New York, that's when I had the minor stroke, and the left side of my body was slightly paralyzed. And then I discovered I had the stage 4 brain cancer that had been there for many years, but I didn't see any symptoms until the airplane ride, when the tumor got just big enough to press against the nerve. And then that, with the pressure from the airplane, it was perfect. Because if that happened in Hawaii, if it happened earlier, if I stayed in Hawaii longer, I don't think I would be alive. So just how everything happened, it's been like, feels like God's plan. Just, I could be dead so many times by now.
All divine order, for sure. And one of the things for those people who are going to tune in or those who are with us now, oh, I forgot to say, both of us are working off of our cell phones. And so we really cannot dialogue with our viewers. But please, we encourage you to, as we go through this show and beyond, ask questions, leave your comments, because we will both go back and on the replay, we will answer questions. And if Ethan's got a little bit of a setup, if he can see any of the dialogue that comes on board, he will do his best to maybe address questions and comments as we flow. So we're all going to just be in the flow with this and trust and know that truly what a gift that we're here together today. And so Ethan, you have been such an inspiration. I don't know how much you want to share of your journey from that point that was about a year ago forward. So I'm going to just give it to you and let you flow with what you want to share.
Sure. And just to let you know, I can see the chat, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. If anyone has a question, I'll be able to see it and then I'll answer it.
Perfect.
So yeah, it was. I didn't have any signs or symptoms of the massive tumor in my head at all. No headaches, never got sick, no, definitely no migraines or anything like that. So to have this diagnosis of the stage 4 brain cancer and the tumor, which had been apparently growing for many, many years, according to the doctors, they can't say exactly, but it was probably at least 7 or 8 years. Wow. But as soon as I was diagnosed, it felt like almost like a death experience where their life flashes before their eyes. It was like that. And instantly I saw and felt all of the times that there was stress, that there was fear, any escapes that I had, any out of integrity actions. It was like all of those energies, I saw how they formed the tumor. And then there was like an instant, it's like an instant peace that I knew it was part of God's plan and my soul's plan for this to happen. And yeah, from the beginning, I felt like something really beautiful was going to happen. And that was 13 months ago when I was diagnosed.
13.
So there's been like a deep trust in this process, but at the same time, it's been extremely painful, many times near death, many times not knowing what would happen. But yeah, that's been kind of the essence of what I've been through. It's been definitely a death rebirth experience.
So I'm sitting here listening to you, and of course, like I said, I've been following your journey for a couple months now. And, I know that when we have viewers on the platform here, we run the gamut of souls, all different experiences and different places along their own soul evolutionary expansion. And so, I'm recognizing and I'm hearing you say, the diagnosis and how divine order and the beauty of what's happening. Fair to say, if we look back at your practices and what you were doing and how you were living your life before the diagnosis came. And so, I kind of thinking it's one of those, what came first, the horse or the cart, because there may be many viewers that watch this eventually or could be watching now that haven't had those practices to have that insight. And so that, of course, when we go through these things, it is part of our great awakening process. But, do you feel then that your soul had you in those practices and living those lifestyles, that you were being guided to do those things before you had this diagnosis, so that it would, you already lay in the groundwork to prepare yourself not only for your own expansion, ascension, resurrection that we're moving through, that we're all moving through in our own way, and we'll talk more about that. You and I have talked a little bit about that. As opposed to if you would have been, just really, not so conscious and living a different lifestyle.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm grateful for how it happened. I view it as a few different stages. There was the first stage where I was a child and I felt integrated and happy and healthy. And I felt completely like connected to who I am in my path. And then there was a lot of stress and just negative energy I absorbed and just really unhealthy habits. But then when I was around 18, I was in a mental hospital because I was really suicidal. And while in the mental hospital, my mom gave me a book called There's a Spiritual Solution to Every Problem by Dr. Wayne Dyer. And it goes through the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. So I started reading that book, and I think that was the first time I learned about meditation. So while in the hospital, in the mental hospital, I started to just teach myself meditation. And then eventually I learned about yoga once I got out of the hospital, and then eventually Thai yoga massage, and then got into coaching work. So point being, from when I was 18 until around, I don't know, from 18 onwards, I got into yoga and all these different practices, and then met the shaman on Maui, maybe 9 years ago. So yeah, it was like 3 different stages: childhood, and then the trauma and stress disconnecting from who I am, and then it's spending around like, I don't know, 14 years seeing healers and coaches and spending so much money on therapy and workshops and all this stuff. And looking back, I feel like maybe my soul knew that this was going to happen, so that's why I spent all that time preparing. It's hard to say, but yeah, I do feel like I feel lucky, because if it was the opposite, that would not be easy. Like if I had to change my lifestyle completely right at the tumor diagnosis, I don't think I could do it. It would have been way too much. So I'm grateful that I had that foundation, which not everyone does. So that's part of why I want to kind of like pay it forward, because we can't do this. I can't do this on my own. I couldn't the whole 13 months. I wouldn't be alive if I didn't have the support that I have. And so I'm trying to use this really painful, challenging situation. I mean, I'm stuck in it already. I can't get out of it. So why not use it for something good and beautiful? If I'm going to have pain, if I'm going to have challenges, why not use them and then transmute it into something good? So that's what I'm trying to do. Things are getting a little bit better for much of the past 13 months. Like, for example, I don't know if your viewers can see, sorry, it's a little graphic, but on September 10th, there was a really dangerous head infection that had been going into my skull for maybe like 4 or 5 months. And I tried all these holistic modalities to heal it without 2 more head surgeries, but it ended up becoming way too dangerous. So on September 10th, they cut out part of my skull, cleaned out the head infection. And then September 11th, they cut out part of my abdomen. And then that's what I have in my head. So I don't have a headache, I have a stomachache. So I was in the hospital for around 2 months and just got out a few weeks ago. So my point is that I've had to be just as present as I can, because my heart and my mind are very strong, and I have all these dreams and like a lot of strength and beautiful energies I want to share and help people. But at the same time, like this morning I woke up, it felt like I was going to have a seizure. So I had to literally forget about all the dreams, all of these things I want to create, everything I want to do, and just in that moment use my mind and my breath to not have a seizure.
That's a powerful statement, because we're all we either have or we will. Those who haven't yet, there are moments of surrender, and it is when I played flute with you about a month or so ago one night, the honor of being able to do that, and we had some conversation around some of this then. And what I was saying to you is, many of us who are healers and wayshowers, we know this as the healer heal thyself, our life journeys, and we have come up from the ashes many times this lifetime, and throughout many of our incarnations. And yet, as you're trying and not trying, as you are inspiring, as you were saying, to use this journey as a model, and that in that way as a wayshower, of inspiration for people who, maybe that's not their soul's mission, is to be a healer or to practice in that way, or a wayshower. And so to be able to inspire, and you're doing that, Ethan. Like I said, in the couple months that I've been following your work and supporting you and you supporting, we're all supporting each other in all the ways that we do. I told you I've kind of started, my mom's going through quite a healing process herself. And I don't know, days into watching your stuff, I started playing your videos and just the inspiration for her to see when she needed some, uplifting a whole different situation. And nevertheless, that's how we are taking each other by the hand and guiding each other through this great ascension process that, we are all on. And so, you really are in the amazing pieces that in this deep pain that I've witnessed you in so often, being able to, really inspire and doing it from a place of such vulnerability and, just really beautiful how you've chosen to do that. And so, for so many who may be on the brink of, hopelessness and not knowing where to turn or giving up, this is really, important work for that whole demographic, itself. So thank you.
Thank you. If you see me leaning in, it's just because I'm reading the comments.
Understandable. So are there anything up there that you'd like to address right now? Because I can't see any.
No, but thank you for everyone who did leave a comment, but I don't see any questions.
Okay. So so we'll continue. And what the breath work and I want to go back to that, being in the now moment. That's where we all truly find our power and our peace, regardless of what's going on around us. And boy, it takes practice. And sometimes, we think we've got it, and then we get this opportunity to even go deeper and to really practice that. So, I heard you say being present in the now moment when you're in this excruciating pain. So that's, important for all of us. And
definitely. I mean, for me in my situation, I've had 4 head surgeries, pretty much almost one every other month on average, maybe a little bit less, but 4 head surgeries. And then I still need another one to put the new plate in the head. And sorry, I did not silence my phone. Okay, it is now. But the thing is, there's a new tumor regrowth. So before they can do the surgery to put in the new plate and 3D print a section of the skull, I have to heal the tumor because they don't want to close everything up once the tumor is still growing. And also they can't do radiation now because that'll kill this new healthy skin flap that just took several weeks to become healthy. And this was a miracle too, because not everyone skin flap takes, but mine is taking really well. And they can't do surgery for the tumor because it's just too dangerous to do as it is. So I'm just sharing that because this is kind of one of my surrender practices. That even if everything goes perfectly the next few weeks and maybe the tumor stops growing, another head surgery and facing that, it's so. I'm not sure what my point is, but I just want to share that that's something else that's happening right now. Actually, part of what I want to share is that I don't know where this will lead for me. It's definitely a big mystery. But at the same time, I feel like something beautiful is happening. Like I'm going through a pretty extreme situation, but all these miracles are happening. Even how our conversation is happening right now is just it's just synchronistic. So all these synchronicities are happening. And even as far as creating YouTube videos, personally, I don't really like social media too much or like to use it. But a few months ago, a friend suggested I started to create YouTube videos, and I did, just to kind of document my journey. And it's evolving to a place where it's benefiting some people. So it's kind of like I do the practice for myself, but also if it can benefit people, that's what I want too. Because I don't want to just heal the brain cancer. That would be really boring for me. It's like I heal the brain cancer, and then what? I want to create something beautiful in my life for myself and for other people. And actually, a few people have called me from different parts of the world and it's kind of like an impromptu coaching, just conversations. Some people were actually suicidal. Some people were really depressed. So yeah, I don't have like a plan per se, but I'm just trying to be present and be humble in my own process of healing. And also if opportunities come up to help other people, then that's what I want. That nothing else makes me happier than that.
I
So
love that. And that goes back to that surrendering into the now. And in a different way, I used to be in a very structured environment, very, much by a clock, just because of my career and activities I was involved in with athletics and so forth. And my life has really shifted. And so when you were talking about, you don't really know, it's this, we were on these walks of deep, deep faith. And yet, we know that this new earth, we're not living in that linear way any longer. Those of us that are choosing to have left that reality. And so we're much more, it's that living in the now moment and being flexible so that we can follow our guidance and our sovereign selves. And, we might have a plan, even if, let's narrow it down to a simple plan for the day, and then it totally shifts around from what we thought. Well, we set those are being able to surrender, but also when you were talking about the miracles and the synchronicities, we're also finding that in this new reality that we can, we're able to manifest like this. And so we really do have to watch what we're putting up as our intention and our hopes and dreams and wishes. And how beautiful to hear you say, even from your very surrendered space, that that you're seeing the miracles and the synchronicities, the blessings, the graces that are coming in. What a great testimony that is.
yeah, personally with family, there's a lot of family lineage healing that has taken place through this experience, developing closer relationships with my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sister. So like all of these things that I didn't plan on per se, but it feels like it's just happening through this experience. And so I'm trying to be really, really patient and humble. Otherwise I'll get overwhelmed.
Yes.
You can imagine. It's like wow.
And I hear you speak the truth that many of us know, and I speak it as the great web of life, that what we're doing for ourselves, we're also doing for the lineage, for the ancestors, for all of humanity. And so this healing, as I've heard you say, even that you're doing it for yourself, but you're also healing, those aspects that are within all of us, because truly we are all one. And it's not just verbiage. We're really having a chance to live it, to understand it, and to really, walk in that beautiful truth and make our choices. So,
yeah,
beautiful. Do you want to share any of some of the protocol that you were saying earlier when we were talking, that because I was saying that now that you're out of the hospital, which I don't know that was your choice with all our medical systems and so forth, but what I'll say is, I saw you outside. I remember the first video you did when you got back to your parents' house and you were outside, and I was just like, oh, he feels stronger, he sounds stronger, he sounds more at peace. And then I had just asked you a little while before we went on the air, what are some of the protocols you're doing for your treatments? Would you like to share some of what that holistic wellness protocol is for you?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I was in the hospital recently after 2 head surgeries back to back, actually, on September 10th and 11th. And then I was in the hospital for like 7 weeks after that on intravenous antibiotics and steroids and anti-seizure medication and, painkillers, which I didn't really want to take, but the pain was just so extreme, often shaking in pain. So painkillers. Point being that I didn't realize till I got after the hospital, until after I got out of the hospital, that the inflammation was a huge issue that wasn't being addressed in the hospital. They weren't speaking about that at all. It's understandable. It's their system. They gave me steroids for the inflammation, but I needed a lot more. So after I got out of the hospital, luckily I'm with my parents now and I have my own room, and I'm pretty much just like doing a full-on protocol, because the doctors at the hospital, all they said was that I can find hospice care or palliative care, basically saying there's nothing they could do, there's no hope, it's not curable. And the neurosurgeon, he's very nice and he's honest and he's a expert at what he does. He helped me with this surgery successfully, but he told me straight up, he says, like, there's no cure for what you have right now in your situation because of the skin flap is here, the fact that there's the new tumor growth, and the fact that you already have a section of skull cut out, so we can't do anything. So he said you could go to hospice care or palliative care, which I think that means you go home and they'll just help you stay comfortable at home. So luckily, I'm with my parents now. And yeah, just doing every protocol I can think of. I'm very fortunate. I have a Rife machine. Maybe we shouldn't even be saying that publicly, but yeah, it's a Rife machine. I'm using that. Enemas throughout the day. Pretty much just a liquid diet and like one small solid meal a day, depending on what I need. Yeah, just trying to alkalize my thoughts, my emotions, smile as much as I can, tell myself I'm embodied, I'm empowered, I am ecstatic. So that is that's a name that my shaman gave me last year in a private ceremony when I requested a new name. He gave me the name E3. But initially I didn't think of using it as an affirmation. I just kind of told myself, okay, my new name is E3. But then several months later, I started to just repeat that inside of my own mind, that I'm embodied, I'm empowered, I'm ecstatic. And then eventually it kind of just turned into one of my practices. And then I decided to start making YouTube videos to share that practice with people.
I was going to ask you.
So my point, sorry, my point is that I've realized there's been so much information, maybe from the whole past 13 months, that I've been doing everything I can to reduce the inflammation. I'm so grateful that yesterday I was able to stand on my own safely in the shower, which I haven't been able to do in a few months. And I was able to take a warm and cold shower. So I'm doing cold therapy. I'm going to take an ice bath later today, which I'm grateful for. In Hawaii, I would often sit in a chest freezer filled with water, and there'd be literally a rim of ice on the outside, just sitting there for like 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. So kind of like you said, maybe my soul knew to prepare in certain ways for what I'm going through. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Basically, it's like I'm not worried in my mind, but on a certain level, it's a very critical situation that I'm in. So I'm just doing everything I can, like throwing the kitchen sink at this, and yeah, just waiting, trying to heal the tumor, and then waiting probably at least 2 more months until I could safely have the next head surgery. So that's basically what I'm doing. I can't really do like a water fast or a juice fast right now because the body, it would be too intense of a detox, because I did chemo. I think it ended 2 weeks ago. I did the first dose of chemo because, like I said, I couldn't do radiation or surgery. Chemo was a last resort. So I did 5 days of chemo on, and then they say to take 23 days off. And I saw my oncologist last week, and she said, okay, we're ready to do chemo. And I told her I wanted to meditate on it. So basically that's where I'm at now, reducing inflammation, just having faith that the body will heal, and then seeing what the next step is as far as the tumor and surgery.
It's beautiful. You know, you're not only a teacher and inspiration for those who view whatever it is, you know, we're putting out social media, but also, you know, like I said, for the medical staff and those who, you know, are assisting you, you know, when you're in these facilities, because, you know, it's how we shine our light, and we bring new ideas. And, you know, we have all heard all these, you know, stories of miraculous healings of tumors disappearing, and, you know, someone being diagnosed with the condition, and then they go back and there's no sign of it. And so the medical world, you know, it's all part of what's shifting on this new earth. And, you know, again, I love that we be, you know, those of us who are walking in that truth, that we speak it. And, you know, for your response to be able to meditate on it, you know, or pray on it, that's, you know, that's something that many of us would say. And that's all part of this great shift. You know, when when you, as I watch your videos and what you put out, and sometimes I see you and just really being able to speak. And so, like now I understand that I think you can be holding in a lot more pain or moving through a lot more pain than even presents, in just watching and being with you. And as our viewers are here with us. So, I was asking you a little bit earlier too, this mastery, part of the mastery that you're moving through, it's not to, of course, deny that when you're having this pain, but to tell us your process and how you approach when you feel these waves of pain coming through, and what you do, your protocol for that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, often it's a combination of two things. One is that I try to be as humble as I can with the pain, and not like, well, definitely not be a victim or not complain. Or I try not to overlay reactionary thoughts or emotions onto the sensation. Easier said than done, but I'm trying to get better at just feeling the sensation and the pain, and even trying to reframe it, maybe not call it pain, but just be present with the sensation. And then also, on the other end, trusting that the energy can be transmuted into something beautiful. So like not bypassing the pain, and even when fears come up, but also not bypassing the truth that any energy can be transmuted into a higher vibration, even one little step. So that's my practice all day, every day in the pain. Like, yeah. So that's what I've been trying to do for the past 13 months. It's not like it just started yesterday. It's been 13 months of constant, like either 9 out of 9 pain or 10 out of 10 or sometimes more. But could be worse, a lot worse. So I'm trying to, like, accept my path, and then also support other people how I can. And like you said, I don't know if you said this, but something along the lines of that, the new energy we're moving into. From the beginning, I felt like I'm bearing my own cross. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's how it's felt, that I'm doing my best to bear my own cross. And I really feel like a lot of us are going through the same exact thing I'm going through, but just in our own way. We're each releasing old energies, maybe fears, maybe even pain. But I feel like each of us, we have a dream in our heart. And that's part of what's happening in the collective. Like, it's very scary and disorientating, but I feel like we're all going through this process together. And that's part of why I'm sharing what I'm going through. It's not to, like, I don't know, like I said, there's not necessarily a plan per se, like cultivating a 10-step plan of where I am now, where I'm going, and what I'm creating, but just trying to be present, kind of repeating myself. But also the fact is that, like, sometimes my mind and my heart are so strong that sometimes I forget about the brain cancer. But on the 3D level, it is there. It is the most aggressive form of brain cancer that there is. It's already in the brain. It's not like it's in another part of the body and could go there. It is there. So it's kind of like facing pain and death every day. That's what it's like for me. But then also, like I keep on saying, I have all these dreams in my heart that I don't want to wait until the cancer is fully healed to follow,
Beautiful.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just so beautiful that you have that desire to thrive, even in the midst of, whatever it is you're moving through. And I know, I've heard you say many times, it's not even on you just said on a daily basis, what really, it's a minute to minute. I think I've witnessed that with you. And so what a brave journey, and the choice, that's an important piece. It's how you've chosen to move through this. And when you surrender into that now that we keep speaking of, and we all have free will, and we all have an opportunity to choose how are we going to move through. And some things, it seems maybe more difficult situation than it is, but clearly you're really showing us the mastery of how you're choosing to take this journey. And Ethan, I'd like to talk a little bit as our time keeps flowing here. I'm watching the clock. You are bringing through amazing codes and symbols. Would you like to discuss that? I'd love for you to discuss that, and my first question would be, was that something present that you were bringing through as your part of your sacred gifts before the diagnosis, or is that all since?
No, that was before.
Okay.
Yeah, since I was like 18, I would see these images and not know where they came from, and then I would just create art. So I just kept on doing that, and yeah, they keep on coming through.
They're amazing. And I know, our viewers, what I'll say is, I did include some links on my original promo, but we'll put up some ways for you to connect with Ethan and see his amazing work and more of his journey and videotapes that he's been doing. Follow his journey. You can go back and really, for those who hadn't tuned into Ethan until today, we're sitting here doing this interview, and I'm in amaze. Talk about miracles. Just your presence today, and it is a miracle that you're here and able to do this in the way that you are. And I think for those of us who've been following your journey can really appreciate, this talk about this now moment. So back to the artwork and the codes, and you talk about frequency a lot. When you're doing your videos, I'd like to hear you kind of, interweave those your artwork with the frequencies and your process of your healing journey, recognizing frequencies.
Yeah. Well, the art, it helps me remember who I am. It makes me feel like I'm home. Art has been one of my best friends. So it's kind of been like one of the things I've had since I was around 18. After I got out of the mental hospital, I started to create the art. And it's been a very amazing gift, because I guess you could say that the cause of the pain and the cancer in the first place was what I call the passive machine mind. You could call that the ego, but I call it the passive machine minds, like the thoughts and energies and beliefs that were not in alignment with my unique vibration. So the art was like the perfect medicine for that. It really helped me calm the passive machine mind and feel my heart. So yeah, I just kept on making the art since I was like 18. I'm 36 now, and I love it. Yeah.
Do you see any sort of and they're unique every time, right? I mean, I guess I was going to ask, do you see any sort of a pattern with what you're physically experiencing and what's coming through, or is it just every time it's unique?
Every time it's unique, and it's really cool because almost every single time I think that I mess up like a line or something, but then I turn it into something else, and then at the end I realized, oh yeah, that's what that wanted to turn into.
I love it.
Yeah.
So were you're a gifted musician. Do you want to talk, and not getting away from your art, because that's all part of it, the frequency, the sound healing, and the artwork. Talk a little bit, tell us some more about that.
Yeah, I mean, since the brain surgery, even the left hand, it's getting a lot better, but I have to, like, it's very hard to touch. I'm trying to touch each finger. Like, I could do this pretty quick, but this hand needs some work. It'll get better. So yeah, after the brain surgery, I lost function on this side of the body all the way down to the leg, like from the jaw to the leg, and forgot most of the music that I wrote. But I have a feeling that it's kind of a cool opportunity to start over, and that the music is still inside. But yeah, I love music. I love singing. I love how it makes me feel. I love to share my music with other people. So yeah, the art and the music. And well, another thing, I studied belly dance in India for almost a year with India's #1 belly dance teacher, Payal Gupta. And that was inspired by an ayahuasca ceremony where I saw myself dancing a few years ago. And then I had an opportunity to study in India. So yeah, there are all these different like creative outlets that I want to share. And also one other thing I want to say is that for many years I would talk to therapists and coaches and healers and even my shaman and tell them, I would say, I don't really feel alive. Like, I feel like I want a new start. And I feel like there's something more. And as soon as I had the tumor diagnosis, I felt like, yes, this is the best thing in the whole world, to have brain cancer, to have the deadliest form of brain cancer, because now I have the opportunity to clearly go through a death rebirth. I know that could seem kind of like a twisted way of thinking, but that's what I felt in my heart, that like, this was exactly what my soul wanted. And it's been painful, and I would not want to do it again or wish it upon anyone, but it's kind of what my soul asked for. So now I got it. I asked for it. And so yeah, it's been a amazing death rebirth.
And what an
Process.
evolved soul to recognize that this is it. This is what I was asking for, or knowing that time, space is all fluid, like, oh yeah, this is going to happen, and then I'm going to do this, and whew, here's this rebirth. And we were talking about this determined as the resurrection, and
Oh yeah.
truly, truly, we are all moving through this great time of resurrection, whether one is conscious of it or not. We absolutely are, and we're being graced and gifted the energies, that truly are. My brother, Wayshower, Jesus, rose from his crucifixion, and that's how he was able to, go to the higher dimension, is holding, again, these frequencies, and that was the true resurrection. And we are also finding our way, and as we remembered the truth, of who we are, and from where we've come, and what our abilities are. And this is, part of this great shift that, again, that leads to our soul evolutionary expansion, our ascension into, our eternal journey. And so I would like, would you like to share a little bit about some of your, your spirituality, and who, I often speak, and I've been on platform here enough that I've talked a lot about who, my go-tos are, who my team, who I work with, our divine helpers. Would you like to share? Because I heard you say, like when you were diagnosed, and we talked about these former practices that you had, and then for you to respond at the hospital, and let me meditate on that, let me pray on that. That's if we don't have, some sort of if we're not tuned into our spirituality, whatever that is for each of us, then, I don't know how we make it through until we break down enough and we start discovering. So would you like to share some of that?
Sure. Yeah. Well, when I was in the mental hospital 18 years ago, they did different scans, and like brain scans, spinal tap, and other tests. And they saw a mass in part of my head, like in the front center, and they didn't know what it was. So they sent it to different hospitals around the country, and their conclusion was that they don't know exactly what it is, but they said that it's not harmful. So after I got out of the hospital 18 years ago, my mom scheduled a channeling session with Pat Rodegast. And she was one of the first people in this country to do channeling. She would channel this being called Emmanuel. And she's written several books called Emmanuel and Friends. They're really good books. I think she wrote them in the 70s. She would travel around with Ram Dass and facilitate retreats with him.
Okay.
So I had a channeling session with her. She was in Florida at the time. I was in New York. And in the session, she channeled Emmanuel. And I still have the recording because it was so powerful. Luckily, I converted it from cassette to MP3. I've listened to it maybe hundreds of times, if not thousands. And so since then, I would start to feel this vibration in like that space where they saw that thing in my head in the hospital. And it was interesting because it felt like home. It felt beautiful. But because of all those traumas that I told you about, the stress and all the fears and the self-criticism and all those energies that led to the tumor in the first place, when I would feel that energy, I would get scared and I would run away from it, and I would kind of close off and hurt myself, and then that space would shut off a little bit. But as soon as I got into yoga more and like started to do deeper healing and receive therapy and coaching and all these things, I would feel that space more, and I would feel the art come through and other energies. So eventually I realized that I call it my unique vibration. Like it's a vibration that I feel. It's like home. It's like reminds me of who I am, and I feel connected to Emmanuel through that space. And I just learned a few months ago, I don't read the Bible much, but I opened the Bible and I saw that Jesus's father named him Emmanuel, and that means God is with us. So literally for the past 18 years, I've been feeling this vibration in the top of my head. I know it's strange, but if anyone else felt it, like I feel it right now. If anyone else felt it, they would go to the hospital and tell them, I feel this buzzing in my head. What's going on? But for me, I know what it is. So that's kind of, it's hard to describe, but it's like a vibration I feel. And I guess you could say it's connected with Jesus, but for me, it's just like a personal experience. So yeah, that's a little bit about, if there is a practice I have, it's that practice.
Beautiful.
And then of course, a million different teachers, and my shaman has been a blessing in my life, my family and my friends, but no specific like religion per se. Definitely the path I'm on now, this is my religion. Like talking with you right now, doing everything I can to stay alive and heal. This is my practice. This is my religion, and sharing love how I can. So.
That's it. That's beautiful. Yep, you're right on. That's when all these different paths come to the center, whatever path people are following, the center is love and the divine love, and that's so that's perfect. And to recognizing the sovereign self, the I am presence in all of that, and it's taken a lot for many of us to step into that because of old belief systems that didn't serve us. And so it's a beautiful testimony.
Oh, and also, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, that's the thing, that's like compassion, because like, as I would see more about myself, or even about how family actions affected me, or how I affected the situation, like there came a point where I realized I have to have as much love and compassion as I have awareness about these things. So that's something that's helped me a lot, to not be critical or like, oh, I created this, like I manifested this, or whatever, but to just accept it, and then what am I going to do from this position? Like that's helped me a lot.
And certainly the amount of forgiveness work that we all put in, on our healing journeys, forgiveness of self first and others. And what you're speaking of is perfect of the divine masculine and feminine balance, right? Is when you were using the terms to describe energy of compassion and love and all those divine feminine. This is the balancing out that each of us are doing, as well as collectively here on the earth plane, Mother Earth. So it's being gentle with ourselves, and the self-love and self-worth and nourishment first, so that we can expand it out to our brothers and sisters in all kingdoms of Earth Mother.
Yeah. Oh, and also something I felt very clearly, like I feel like all of us, everyone who's listening, it's not random that we chose to be here at this time. Like I feel like our souls wanted to be alive at this specific time in humanity. So yeah, I definitely feel like my experience is connected to our collective experience, and I just happen to be having a pretty extreme example of it, but I think we're all going through the same exact thing, just in our own way. And this is why it's really beautiful. We can all help each other, because I think sometimes we forget that energetically we are connected. So like if you love yourself, it literally helps me. And if you release even a little bit of fear, it helps me to release some of my fears. So I'm trying to constantly remind myself of this, that even if my mind thinks I'm alone, I'm actually not, and it's not really possible.
That's so true. Well said. And what I just was seeing in my mind's eye was the video you put up the other day, when you were doing your thing in your share, and in the back, you're outside, in the back is this beautiful deer shows up. So talk about the oneness and being able to feel, right? Love and exchange. And that was so perfect that I read the comments somebody wrote, and you were like, well, where does the deer show up? So I guess you hadn't even seen it on your replay. And she's just looking around, and the talk about synchronicity I'd shared with you in my video that I had taken, it'd be a week ago Saturday, that I called in the deer with the intention of the peace be still, and the harmonization of love. And she was in the midst of hunting season here where I'm at, and she stopped and we really shared a really beautiful moment. So, these are really powerful testimonies that, even if we think we're alone, or if whatever we're exchanging, the giving and the receiving, we really to be responsible for ourselves, but also recognize that this is how we assist one another. Truly.
Yeah. I feel like maybe the old way was like individual success and evolution and stuff, and maybe we'd get together sometimes to help each other, but I feel very strongly that now this will be a collective. Like, we each have our individual gifts to offer, but I feel like now is the time that we're really gonna start helping each other, and it's actually so much fun to help other people. I think sometimes we forget. So my prayer is that this experience of what's happening in the world is going to inspire us to realize that, wow, we are all beautiful and we have amazing gifts and experiences that can help other people. And then we feel good when we share those gifts that are easy to share, and then we just build positive momentum. And so that's my prayer for myself and for everyone here.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's the unity consciousness, right? This is the Christ consciousness of the true oneness where everyone thrives. And as we move away from the duality and separation, and boy, in 2020, on the earth plane, we certainly have had a lot of that, and certainly here in America. But, as you said, we're leaving that time behind. We're coming together where everyone thrives, and we work together, we play together, and we help one another. And so much more joy when we live in that way, much more peace. And is there anything I'm going to ask if you will honor us before we do close out, as it looks like we've got about 8 minutes here. But awesome. I'd love you to, if you were to give us one of your E3 affirmations at the end, but we've got a little bit more time. So what else would you like to share before we have to close out here today?
Well, I don't know. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see if anything comes through here. And we've covered a lot of ground in a short time. I appreciate it. As like I said, for all that we've.
Oh, well, I mean, Hanukkah's coming up, and then don't forget Christmas too. So I don't think this is I think it's important for us to see the signs and to see the blessings and to like ride the waves of the energies coming through, and as much as possible to it's a practice, but to try not to get caught up in the fear. Because while the fear is happening, there are amazing like energetic gateways and portals that we have access to that are coming up. So I think we should celebrate harder than we've ever celebrated before in our whole lives. Have the best Thanksgiving, even if it's just a simple meal with one person, or have the best Christmas you've ever had, even if you don't give physical gifts, you could share other gifts. So that's my goal. That's what I'm going to be doing this year in my position. And because I feel like it's just all of these things aligning. It's like from a movie we're in or something, with the whole COVID and election, and now Christmas is coming up, and it's like perfect timing to call in these energies of the Christ consciousness coming through our hearts in our own way.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Ethan. Really well said. And it is when we live in gratitude, we're recognizing that that's how that's how we all thrive. And when I say thrive, from that heart space, and then all the other perks that come along with it. And so with this first season holiday that so many celebrate here on Turtle Island, of giving thanks, and we do that on a daily basis as we move through our days, and we watch how that changes our lives. And then, as you said, the perfect time, we've been talking about this resurrection and the rebirth, and we're all rising like the phoenix. And so too, what represents the Christmas time when, Jesus was born, and all the magic and the gifts that are shared in all the ways we can do that. So my screen has frozen. Are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, beautiful. So all all that being said, I would also like to encourage viewers to go to Ethan. What is your Ethan Angel? Tiffany may, like I said, my screen's frozen. We might have it up, and I know I put it on the promo. I'd like to encourage people to go there to support you in whatever way they can. And I know that reciprocal giving and receiving automatically takes place when they connect with what you're providing and what you're sharing.
Thanks. Yeah, it's ethansangels.org. So ethansangels.org. And yeah, there's a little background about my story. For many months, I couldn't even look at a screen like I am now because it would aggravate a seizure. So, and then I had an apartment fire and lost my computer on August 8th, Lionsgate. So yeah, the website is just super basic, but eventually I want to start, it's a GoFundMe website right now, pretty much, but I want that to transition from people sending donations, which helps immensely because there's so many medical costs that insurance doesn't cover. But eventually I want to shift it into what I'm offering the world. So I'm trying to balance out like being patient and the fact that I could use support in my situation, but also the fact that I am empowered now to create prosperity and to create in my life. So I'm trying to do both. So yeah, ethansangels.org.
And that's perfect, because that is the balance, right, of the giving and the receiving. Both are equally important. And so with the time we have left, I would like you to do what, like I said, to close out, and we'll just we'll just fade away with that. But I want to say thank you so much for coming on the platform. I know we tried to do it a few weeks ago, and as we say, and as we notice, all is in divine order. And so today was the day, and what a good day. And I'm grateful. So thank you for being here. And maybe we can do it again sometime. And yeah, thank you again to Tiffany, our producer, Goldylocks Productions, creator, for being flexible and helping us to make this dream come true. And so Ethan, take it away, my friend.
Thank you so much. Okay, so this affirmation is an affirmation that I do each day in my own mind and heart for myself. But I also do it for other people, that everyone in all realms can feel embodied, empowered, and ecstatic, just as we are. Okay, so I'll show you how I do it. I do usually 3 rounds, well, when I make the videos. So okay, if you'd like to join me, I'll show you one, and then you could join for 2 more if you want. I'm embodied. I am empowered. I am ecstatic. I am embodied. I am empowered. I am ecstatic. Okay, 1 more round. I am embodied. I am empowered. I am ecstatic. Just as I am. And I'll just say one thing real quick. So when I do that practice, it's not like if I don't feel ecstatic, I kind of just do the affirmation. If a smile comes through, that's awesome. If not, that's awesome too. But that's the affirmation that I do as a practice. And eventually it's kind of like building up that energy where I feel it all the time, even underneath the pain and the challenges. So that's one of the practices I do.
It's beautiful. It's powerful. Thank you. Blessings to all. Blessings to all. Blessings to you, Ethan.
Thank you so much. It's great to connect.
Don't want the fun to end? Grab more refreshments. Then head over to the Goldylocks Productions YouTube channel. With the huge selection of shows, the fun doesn't have to end.